Lace on mesh, that is, we cut it with scissors. I sewed the corset to the state you saw it in. Also, before embroidering appliques or any lace, we need to understand where and in what places. That is, we have a model planned out in advance, and we basically know in advance where the lace will be. For example, I want to make a corset like this. This is this part. Everything drawn in green will be lace, rhinestone lace, and everything below is draping. Now I should directly on my product. I sewed the corset to the state you saw it in. I pin the lace on the mannequin so that the edge extends beyond the edge of the corset. And I fill this area with lace, that is, I do it with a lace edge or with an applique. It doesn't matter at all. So, we can create this area and fill it with appliques, lace, or anything else. The main thing is that there's lace here. We trim off any excess lace with scissors. I want to talk about this too. If we're just trimming lace on a mesh, there aren't many questions. For example, we need to trim off the excess. Let's say we have a flower. Any kind, really. A flower, a leaf, a twig. And we trim it off somewhere. For example, we're left with these little threads here, small, let's say, decorative cords, the stuff our lace is basically decorated with, the stuff it's made of. These are the areas that remain after the cut. Now I'll trim off the excess. So, let's say we're left with these short lines. We need to gather them into a single thread. Make little stitches like these. Very small, very neat, unnoticeable. Get as close as possible. Shorten these little red lines, the remaining ones, as much as possible. If it doesn't work, you look and you really can't do it. So, you just take it and carefully hem it and that's it. The rest will be, for example, covered here, for example, with draping. If you don't cut the flower, but simply trim around the flower or next to the flower, so to speak, you can do this. In this case, you have mesh, working with embroidered mesh, there are no questions. But if you're working with organza, the organza will fray. What should you do? You need to melt it either with a fabric burner, or, say, with a simpler, more accessible method using a candle flame or a match flame. Here's an example of an organza cut that hasn't been melted. You can see how it frayed. That is, all of this needs to be cut with scissors and melted.